Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CLSR, and I'm your host, the counselor. Today, we're going to be talking about cocaine on the brain, or crack, which is whack. And some of you are on it, but I think we got to discuss it for those common folk. Believe it or not, there's more people doing it than we care to believe. This drug called cocaine has a history, and it's no mystery. Now, the official name is cocaine. However, it's also known as blow, C, coke, crack, flake, freebase, rock, snow. What is it really? It's like when you think of cocaine, think of pure cocaine. Was first isolated from the leaves of that coca bush back in 1860. I'm pretty sure it was 1860. And the researchers discovered that cocaine numbs whatever tissues it touches, leading to its use as a local anesthetic. However, today we mostly use synthetic anesthetics rather than cocaine. In the 1880s, psychiatrist Sigmund Freud wrote scientific papers that praised cocaine as a treatment for many ailments, including depression and alcohol and opioid addiction. After this, however, cocaine became widely and legally available in patent medicines and soft drinks. Yes, I said it, soft drinks. As cocaine use increased, people began to discover its dangers in like around 1911, especially here in Canada. So once they discovered that there was some dangers, especially here in Canada, Canada passed laws restricting the importation, manufacture, sale, and possession of cocaine. See, the use of cocaine declined until the 1970s, when it became known for its high cost and for the rich and glamorous people who used it. Cheaper version is otherwise known as crack. Crack cocaine became available in the 1980s. And I got to tell you, people, I know all about that because I've had family members, and I'm not naming names because we might have had some. Some of you act like you don't have no family members that ever dibbled or dabbled. But if you're old enough and you know about some family members who got on that crack, what? You got to watch your back for those on crack. They climb in your window, steal your mom's jewelry, take some TVs. Oh man, it was just running rampant in the 80s. People on crack were just losing their mind. They were jonesing. You know, you could just imagine how crazy it was. It's like the movie of the day was New Jack City, right? And that's when you just got like blown away. And there were just revolutionary directors and producers like Spike Lee who came out with the real deal, right? Even in the 90s, he came out with these movies that were so real, they depicted what crack was. And they've had other movies, right, that's done it. But the point is that crack was really tearing people apart. It was almost like it turned the average Joe Blow into a demon seed. Once they got on it, they were just tripping. And you know what? There was a lot of murders and otherwise homicides because of this drug, right? So basically, we want to get a little understanding of where this drug comes from. And if you want to know, you'd have to say cocaine is extracted from the leaves of the Erythrophilum, or basically the coca bush, which grows on the slopes of the Andes Mountains in South America. For at least 4,500 years, people in Peru and Bolivia have chewed coca leaves to lessen hunger and fatigue. Today, most of the world's supply of coca is grown and refined into cocaine in Colombia. Criminal networks control the lucrative cocaine trade. Now, cocaine hydrochloride, the form in which cocaine is snorted or injected, is a white crystalline powder. It is sometimes cut or mixed with things that look like it, such as cornstarch or talcum powder, or with other drugs such as local anesthetics or amphetamines. The base form of cocaine can be chemically processed to produce forms of cocaine that can be smoked. Now, these forms are known as freebase or crack. Looks like crystal or rocks. Cocaine is often used with other drugs, especially alcohol and cannabis. Cocaine and heroin mixed and dissolved for injection. It's called a speedball. Man, I'm educating you people on some street terms, boy. I hope you appreciate it. Because when you hear people talking, you know, when they're talking and they're trying to use their little drug language, now you can pick up. When you hear speedball, you know it ain't nothing to do with a ball or speed. Okay, so I'm hipping you to the game. It's almost like I'm educating you on some street lingo. Good for you, people, especially you country bumpkins out there. I'm waking you up to the reality of it. And some of you who think it's only happening in big cities, think again. They got that cow tipping because somebody out there was on cocaine. So you may be surprised who's using it. I know they did a survey way back when, and I think it was somewhere around 2009, even in where I'm living in this area. So, like, students in grades 7 to 12 reported that almost 3% had used cocaine and 1% had used crack at least once in the past year. Now, that's our young people, right? And even in a little earlier than that, a survey in Ontario, they had reported that 1.7% had used cocaine in the past year and 7% had used cocaine at least once in their lifetime. That would surprise people, I know, but it's true. And that's just in this innocent little province of Ontario. But how does it make those people feel? Now, you want to go, well, I've never done it, and I have never done it. I got to be real, I've never done it. I mean, I've actually had a friend who told me that they did it, and I was like, if you weren't such a good friend of mine, I'd have to walk away from you. You know what I mean? But they said they tried it, and you know what? You can't blame people, but be careful if a friend confesses to that, because nobody does anything just once. So keep your eyes on your fries, okay, people? But you can say that how it makes people feel would really depend on a few things, like how much they use the drug, or how often and how long they use the drug, or how they use it. Like they could be snorting it up the nosy, or they could be doing the injection, right? That would really depend on how you use it, right? Your mood, expectation, and environment could impact when you're taking this drug, right? And it also could depend on your age, whether you have certain medical or psychiatric conditions that will impact too how it makes you feel. Combining it with like alcohol or drugs, like some people even mix it with illegal prescriptions, over the counter stuff or some herbal, right? Cocaine makes people feel energetic, talkative, alert, euphoric. They may feel more aware of their senses, the sound, touch, sight, and sexuality. These things may seem heightened, and hunger and the need for sleep are drastically reduced, right? Although cocaine is a stimulant, some people find it calming and feel increased self control, confidence, and ease with others. Other people may feel nervous and agitated and can't relax. So remember, taking high doses of cocaine for a long time, this really is going to impact you negatively. I mean, if you do decide that that's something that you do, which obviously the counselor is in no way recommending that. I'm saying don't do drugs, period. But there are people that, if they take it and they get those high doses of cocaine on the brain, then they're going to have panic attacks. They're going to have psychotic symptoms such as paranoia, feeling overly suspicious, jealous, or persecuted. They might even have hallucinations, like as if they're seeing or hearing or smelling something. You know what I mean? You know those people in the park keep saying you farted when you didn't. You know they're on something. Yeah, that's why people dismiss them as crackheads. Now, I'm not making fun of them, but that's what they say. I think that's where the term came from. People who are accusing you, you really didn't do nothing, but they keep accusing you, like, get out of here, crackhead. So that right there could also make people have delusions, false beliefs in something when they're taking that stuff. Erratic, bizarre, and sometimes violent behavior. And I gotta tell you, being in the big city, I've had some experiences when, see, sometimes we're growing and we're learning and we have to find living arrangements, especially when you're young people. And you find yourself in some real precarious situations where you might have to rent out a room or apartment when you're first starting out, right, in the big city. I do recall, and I'm giving you some personal stuff because the stuff's real. And I remember this one person that was renting out a room not too far from me. I remember coming home from work one day and they kept saying, "Hey, counselor." They didn't say counselor, right? But they said, "Hey, man." They said, "Do you see that person out there? There's somebody out there." Right? And you know me, I'm about to go in my room, mind my own business, take care of my business. This person's like, "No, no, no, come here, come here, come here." So this person had me looking out the window and they're like, "Somebody's behind that car over there watching me." And I'm like, my goodness, where the hell am I? Right? But see, that's yeah, it's a motivator to get out of there. And it happens. But the moment you get people doing that, you know there's something terribly wrong. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to provoke these people, right? You don't say, man, you're crazy. You just be like, yeah, yeah, but I don't think there's anybody, and move on. But get out of those situations immediately. When people start acting crazy and start talking sideways out the side of their face, or those delusions are coming out in them, it's time for you to jump ship. Get out of there, right? See, with regular use, people may become tolerant to the euphoric effects of cocaine. This means they need to take more and more of the drug to get the same direct effect. And at the same time, people who use the drug regularly may also become more sensitive to its negative effects, such as anxiety, psychosis, which I told you about those hallucinations, loss of contact with reality, and seizures. Cocaine also makes the heart beat faster and raises blood pressure and body temperature. Yes, it's a drug, people, right? And you wonder how long does this feeling last, right? Intranasal use, or what do they call snorting, takes effect within a few minutes and lasts about 15 to 30 minutes. Smoking causes a high within seconds, but it lasts only 5 to 10 minutes. See, when the cocaine high fades, the person may begin to feel anxious and depressed and have intense craving for more of the drug. Some people stay high by binging or continuously using the drug for hours or days. My God, I'm confessing here. I knew people growing up. Man, I knew this one dude, God rest his soul. I knew this one dude who was on it, and he won a bunch of money in the lottery, and he got on that cocaine or crack, and he went missing for about a week and a half. He had everybody locked up in this apartment in this hotel, and they were just binging. And when he came out a week later, he was less $50,000. And I was like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing that takes over. So you could imagine how many households it was destroying. But it is highly addictive, right? And I know we got drugs we're going to talk about that are out there that are severely addictive and a lot more potent, but this cocaine is still out there in different forms. It can be very addictive. Now, not everyone who uses cocaine becomes addicted, but if they do, it can be one of the hardest drug habits to break, period. People who become addicted to cocaine lose control over their use of the drug. They feel a strong need for cocaine even when they know it causes them medical, psychological, and social problems. Getting and taking cocaine can become the most important thing in their lives. That's all they want to do. And see, some people would do anything. They'll kill their grandmother, kill their dog. You know what I mean? They'll do everything to get to some cocaine, right? Smoking crack with its rapid, intense, and short-lived effects is the most addictive. You know what I'm talking about if you've ever heard of anybody on the crack, right? However, any method of taking cocaine can lead to the addiction. The amount of cocaine used and how often people use the drug has an effect on whether people get addicted. Now, you got those ones that are saying they're occasional users and they get on it and they got it under control, but you know what? They don't stop. They get it every once in a while and they say, oh, you know what? I'm fine. But cocaine causes people to crash when they stop using it. So when they crash, their mood swings rapidly from feeling high to feeling distressed. This brings powerful cravings for more of the drug. Binging to stay high leads quickly to addiction. Now, some of the symptoms of cocaine withdrawal can include exhaustion, extended and restless sleep or sleeplessness, hunger, irritability, depression, suicidal thoughts, and intense cravings for more of the drug. The memory of cocaine euphoria is powerful and brings a strong risk of relapse to drug use. I think one of the most important things a counselor wants you to know it is a drug. It's a very dangerous drug. And I'm going to just state that here and now that it is a very dangerous drug. One of many, but it's got a history, but it's just as dangerous. See, while many people use cocaine on occasion without harm, the drug can be very dangerous, whether it's used once or often. And I suggest you don't even use it once. I don't care. There's pressure out there. Don't do it. Cocaine causes the blood vessels to thicken and constrict, reducing the flow of oxygen to the heart. At the same time, cocaine causes the heart muscle to work harder, which can lead to heart attack or stroke even in healthy people. Cocaine raises blood pressure, which can cause weakened blood vessels in the brain to burst. That's why they call it cocaine on the brain, because it can really do some serious damage. Some damage you can't even recover from. A person can overdose on even a small amount of cocaine. Overdose can cause seizures and heart failure. It can cause breathing to become weak or stop altogether. There is no antidote to cocaine overdose. When cocaine is used with alcohol, the liver produces this thing called coca-ethylene, a powerful compound that increases the risk of sudden death beyond the risk of using cocaine alone. And there are some long-term effects. Cocaine increases the same chemical in the brain that make people feel good when they eat, drink, or have sex. Regular cocaine use can cause lasting changes in this reward system of the brain, which may lead to addiction. Craving and psychiatric symptoms may continue even after drug use stops. Right? You can stop that cocaine, and then all of a sudden you're having them hallucinations and going through those changes, right? You gotta remember what's gonna happen to you if you have that regular long-term use of cocaine. It's associated with many serious health and behavior problems. Now, people who are snorting cocaine can cause sinus infections and loss of smell. It could damage tissues in the nose and cause holes in the bony separation between the nostrils inside the nose. It's not pretty if you've ever seen that. Smoking cocaine can damage the lungs and cause cracked lung. Symptoms include severe chest pains, breathing problems, and fever. Cracked lung can be fatal. That's a term, cracked lung. Injection can cause infections from used needles or impurities in the drug. Sharing needles can also cause hepatitis or HIV infection. Now remember, cocaine use in pregnancy may increase risk of miscarriage and premature delivery. It also increases the chance that the baby will be born overweight. Now, some of you are sitting there shaking your head. How could anybody who's pregnant take cocaine? That is a terrible thing. Well, before we start pointing fingers at people, cocaine don't discriminate, pregnant or not. Short, pregnant, tall, white, black, whatever. Cocaine is a drug and it does not discriminate. And if you have a habit, silly rabbit, and you're on cocaine and you just happen to get pregnant, there's a good chance that baby's going to be a basehead. And I know that's a sad thing to say, but it's a drug, people. And it could hurt the families, could kill people. So remember that. We're not blaming people who are on cocaine. There's no sense of pointing fingers. It's a drug, right? See, because women who use cocaine during pregnancy often also use alcohol, nicotine, and other drugs. So we do not fully know the extent of the effects of cocaine use on the baby. So I can't say the baby's messed up, but I can say it can be. There could be some serious effects. We're not really sure what they are, but we know one thing, it's not good for the baby. Cocaine use while breastfeeding transmits cocaine to the nursing child. Now, this exposes the baby to all of the effects and risks of cocaine, especially when you got that nursing going on, right? We're talking about serious use. Cocaine, this use is linked with risk-taking and violent behaviors. It's also linked to poor concentration and judgment, increasing risk of injury and sexually transmitted disease. See, chronic use can cause severe psychiatric symptoms, including psychosis, anxiety, depression, paranoia. The chronic use can also cause weight loss, as I said, malnutrition, poor health, sexual problems, infertility, and loss of social and financial support. Now, if you're going to get yourself into a situation, you're going to need to find some treatment, some help. Now, there are some treatment programs out there, and I will really strongly recommend that. I can give you a list of names and organizations, but this is a worldwide problem situation here. And I recommend you going to your hospitals or your detox centers, right? and you get in there and you tell those people what's going on with you, get some help, and they will direct you. You know, if you get put in jail, you tell them you got the habit, right? Don't try to go cold turkey in the jail cell, because that's seriously, that could put your life at risk. But if you have these problems, I strongly recommend, even if you have to get a hold of the police, right? You got to tell them, listen, you know what? I'm struggling here. And do you know of any resources out there to support people? You know, they might be able to say, you could say you have an alcohol problem instead of a cocaine problem. And then once you find that you get some alcohol, they usually know how to connect you to people with drug rehabilitation centers. You know what I mean? So there is help out there. But the real key is, do you want it? Where are you going to get it? Well, first of all, there can be all the help in the world out there when it comes to this cocaine drug. However, it's really up to you to go for some of this help. And it's not an easy thing to do, but it is something that you have to do. And you can find the help if you want the help. That's the key. But it is something that you have to, try to get some support. But it's not going to be easy, but you can do it. You can get yourself some help. And, depending on what's going on in your life, you can make that change. And when we talk about this cocaine, we got to remember that cocaine is that crack. And I think we should talk a little bit about crack, because I think it's something that people often get confused with it. Now, crack is a crystal form of cocaine that can be smoked using the drug cocaine. And this drug sends signals to the brain very quickly and gives you more of a rush than snorting it. The high from crack lasts about 5 to 10 minutes. And why do people use crack? People use crack or any mood altering drug to change the way they feel. Crack can numb bad feelings and make people feel better for a while. The more often people use crack, the more they crave it and the harder it is to control their use. But you do need to know that it is addictive. Yes, crack can be very addictive, even with the short-term use. You may be addicted to crack if you have built up a tolerance to it. Like, you don't get the same high that you used to get. Or if you keep thinking about the next time you'll get to use it again. Or spend so much time and money getting crack that you don't take care of important things in your life, such as your school, your work, your family. Or if you keep using crack despite the problems it causes in your life. It's a drug. And a lot of you people out there that want to point fingers at people who are doing crack, remember, alcohol is a drug too. And it's just as destructive. Matter of fact, it's one of the biggest destructive drugs out there, alcohol. You know what I mean. A lot of people say, oh, I got it under control. But there's a lot of people that don't have it under control. So don't point fingers. Because society says alcohol is more acceptable because they pump it out the TV and on the media and online, it makes it appear more acceptable. However, it's not. Because there's people out there drinking and driving and running and killing families and killing themselves, and it's just crazy what's going on. Running people over, keep on running. Like, alcohol is a drug, and the thing is, what's acceptable to society? Whatever it is, one thing we do need to keep in mind is we shouldn't be pointing fingers at anybody, right? You need to know that, let's say if you're on this crack, there is a positive thing to this thing. That people can and they do stop using crack. Even people who are not ready to give up crack can learn ways to use it more safely and plan for the day when they are ready to give it up, right? And there's people that'll say, I've used crack, nothing bad happened to me. Does this mean that they can handle it? I beg to differ. Using crack, it's a gamble. The more you use it, the greater the risk. But even taking the same or smaller amounts than you've used in the past can have some seriously bad effects, right? So when you talk to people about crack, you got to tell them using crack can lead to a stroke, heart attack, seizures, even in the healthiest people, right? You might be a jogger, but you get together with a friend, all of a sudden you're on that crack, having a little bit of fun. Next thing you know, your heart's blowing out your chest. Using crack can make people paranoid, angry, aggressive. Some people hallucinate or become delusional. These effects generally go away when they stop using crack. But crack may be contaminated, right? Levamisole is a drug that may be present in crack, especially in that powder cocaine, but there's no way to tell. Levamisole affects people differently, but may cause serious health problems such as infections, like fever, chills, and black patches on your skin, right? So if you are on crack and you do give it up, you do need to know that after using crack, people come down or they crash. Now, the crash makes the world seem gray and sad. People feel grouchy, edgy, exhausted. They sleep for a long time and wake up hungry. Using crack changes the brain. See, when people use it often and over a long period of time, then stop using it, strong cravings make them want to use it again. These cravings continue for a long time, especially after they stop using it. They get that craving, right? And there's people who say, I want to quit. I want to stop using it, or I got to take a break. How do I do it? Counselor, help me. Well, you do need to know that the first few hours or days after you stop using can be hard to get through. But if you fight the cravings and keep off the drugs, you'll soon start to feel better. The cravings to use may be strong at first, but they usually fade over time. Now, how could you get off this crack? What can I do? Well, you're going to have to find out what treatment programs are available. And I told you ways you can go about trying to do that. You might even have to attend a self-help group to get support and meet others in recovery. Stay clear of all other drugs, including alcohol. Book into a detox center for a few days. And a detox center, for some of you that don't know, it's a detoxification unit. Sometimes they're in hospitals and then sometimes they're not. But if you go to your local health facility, they'll usually tell you or direct you to a detox center. The detox center is really a place where you go there and you just go clean, cold turkey. You don't use any drugs. And they have excellent counselors there that after you come clean, like it gets out of your system. Usually if you start all that shaking and whatever. I used to work in a detox center to help people. I'm telling you, I'm not joking. And it's serious. And you can understand a lot about it. You become sensitive to people who have this illness, right? But you do need to know certain things. So if you're going to attend a self-help group to get support, you could meet other people in recovery. So you got to stay clear of these other drugs. Okay? Don't carry money or bank cards with you, right? Book into this detox center for a few days. They'll feed you, take care of you, but you got to stay clean. They ain't going to allow no running in and out. So, and don't bring nothing with you. I've had to check people going into detox. One of the scariest things when you're checking people going into detox is when you got to go through them pockets. Right? Because you don't know. You don't know when you check them, because you got to check people when they come to the door at the detox center. And don't get it confused, because a lot of people think when you go to a detox center, they're just going to let you in because you know what, you got a problem. Now remember, if you're all tore up, they will screen you first, like a little bit. You know what I mean? Especially if you're on alcohol and you're all over the place, you're cursing and violent and aggressive. A lot of them won't take you in. So you got to be mild, at least act like you got some sense. But one of the scariest problems is when you work at a detox center, is when the initial phase is when you got to, check people to see if they got any drugs on them or whatever. Sometimes going into their personal things, you got to watch it, because despite having gloves on, you could get pricked. So I take my hat off to all these frontline workers, and I ain't just talking about no COVID-19. I'm talking about people who've been doing it, right? Who've been through it, and who are helping people. You got to give them a shout out. So if you got a family member out there that's working with people who need that help and assistance, you got to take your hat off to them, thank them, whoever they are. They don't need to be super qualified. They just need to care. And they're doing a hell of a job. And I don't think there's enough money out there to show that you care. So you got to show that human side to you. You got to understand that there are people out there who are good people. I think we forget that because we get so much negative on the news about what's going on. We forget about this human factor. And I love and appreciate that human factor. See, everybody wants something. Everybody needs something. But when you get those humans out there, and I mean real humans, the ones that just genuinely care, I appreciate that. That makes you want to wake up each day. But sometimes people get alone in those corners. They forget about people caring out there. Well, if you want to know, if you're sitting up there all alone, that's because you ain't contributed to society. You shouldn't be alone. You can get off your bum, go down to a detox center, help out. You can volunteer at a food bank, right? You can help at a women's shelter. You don't need to be alone. If you're alone, you want to be alone, right? You can help out. And sometimes that's attention that you need. But if you become this person that, you're sitting up there crying all the time about your ills and your woes, and you don't appreciate where you're at, That's where you're going to be. You're going to be in the corner like little Jack Horner, sucking on your thumb, complaining about life. Yes, we all have ills and worries, and life is not fair, but it's life. So appreciate each day that you get. It's not an easy life, but it's a great life if you contribute and you want to be part of it. You only got so much time on this planet, so we got to remember to care. So I'm just saying, yo, a thumbs up to all those people out there who are helping in all these settings and caring about people and doing what they can to show their love, and who are educating people, who are trying to support people and show them that, you know what, we got to keep working on things. We got a long way to go, but hey, we only have a short time that we're here, so let's appreciate it. So all I'm saying is, if you are one of those persons that's going into that detox and don't carry no extra jewelry and all that, because it ain't going to be there when you wake up, then you're going to have another problem. So what you do is you make sure that you give your family your stuff. Just go with your basics. You'll be fine, like your health card or whatever, right? Stay away from people who use drugs in places that you associate with, right? That's going to be a big help. If you really want to get off of it, and this is one of the hardest things for people to do, to stop going around people that they know, because usually even if it's 5 people, one of them's got a habit. And see, they're going to be putting pressure. So you could be good for a while, but you know they're going to be what? Yeah, you know, doing it in front of you. You can say, I quit for so many times, but just to be tempted is not good for you in any sort of way. So what you want to do is stay away. And I know a lot of people, oh, I can't stop. You want to have a life, you got to stay away from that bad habits. And you got to stay away from people that have those bad habits. So you're going to have to build your strength through some healthy eating, sleeping, and exercise. Keep busy with some work, school, or other activities that don't include substance use. Right? Tell your friends and family you're not using and ask for their support. A lot of people say, well, I ain't got nothing to do. I'm sitting at work at home. I ain't got no job. I can't do nothing. And so I just use. Well, go out there and volunteer, like I said. Yes, that's right. Get active. Get busy. You never know where it'll lead. Get out of there. Get out of the town. And I do mean, I know I grew up here all my life. This is all I get out of the town if it's bringing you down. Right? Get out. And there's people that know that. They know it's not good for you. But you know what? You might be the last person because you are so accustomed to being around people that you know. Sometimes you got to break it up. Did I say forever? No. But you might have to get out because you know birds of a feather flock together. It's hard to beat something when somebody else is playing around in front of you with that habit, right? So you got to do that, right? So if you're going to keep using crack, what can you do that may be safer? I know a lot of us talk about this quitting, and some of us don't have the willpower. It takes a while. If you are going to use, then you need to know that you might have to use a Pyrex pipe. Pipes made of thin glass, plastic, cans, or copper add to the dangers of smoking crack. Pyrex pipes are available from harm reduction services. Okay? Use a hash pipe screen. If you're going to use, I'm telling you, I got to tell you, if you're going to use, using cigarette ash or Brillo as a screen can damage your lungs and expose you to dangerous toxins. So think about it. These are things that you can do. Always use your own pipe. Even a speck of blood can carry hepatitis C, which can live outside the body for a long time. People can catch more than one strain of hepatitis C, so avoid sharing, even if you and the person you want to share with are both hepatitis C positive, right? And I'm going to tell you, there's work to be done, and it's not all going to be fun. So I really suggest that you protect your lips. Avoid burns by wrapping the end of your pipe with a thick rubber band or a rolled up cardboard matchbook. Help your lips to heal by using lip protector. Avoid alcohol and other drugs. Combining crack with other drugs increases that risk to your health. Take breaks and limit your use. Wait 30 minutes or more when you're using, and a few days or weeks between runs. This is going to give your body and brain a rest. Taking breaks and for shorter periods of time also helps soften and shorten the crash that follows a run. And remember, people, this is one thing that you're going to forget sometimes. Remember to eat, drink, and sleep. Eat before you use. Sip water while you're using. Give your body a chance to rest. Pay the rent and bills and buy food first. It's hard to budget your money while you are on a crack run, right? And carry condoms. Oh, yes. carry it, right? Carry them condoms. Crack can increase people's desire for sex or lead people to exchange sex for money for drugs. So you got to be prepared. Connect with the harm reduction program. Ask your community health center or public health office if there is one close by. Get help immediately. If you feel down or depressed after using and think you might harm yourself, you're going to have to get some help, right? There are people that do ask questions, and there's no real bad question, because they all deserve to be answered if possible. So some people wonder if smoking crack is safer than injecting. So smoking crack and injecting powder cocaine lead to immediate and intense effects. So both are dangerous for addiction and overdose. Smoking may be safer since injecting can damage veins, cause abscesses, increase a risk of catching the HIV or the hepatitis and other serious infections. So like if you do inject, I got to tell you, do not share needles or any work with others, right? Rotate injection sites. Avoid the neck, breasts, fingers, feet, groin, and the penis. Get more information on safe injection from a harm reduction program or a community health center, all right? And there is help for you people. You people being me people, but we're people. But I'm talking about some of you people get into this mindset where you think, oh, it's all hopeless. I'm down, I'm doing stuff. You're not alone. You feel alone, but you're not alone. A lot of people out there, so you're going to have to hook up, right? There is help out there. Of the many kinds of services available, there's one that's right for you. You just got to find it. And I do suggest harm reduction services, which can help you to be safer while you use it. Right? Group or individual counseling or stay at home at a drug treatment center. Like if you can stay in a center, that's great. It can help you cut down or get off crack completely, which is, it's preferred. It's not always doable, but in most cases it's preferred. If you can, get into a place where you just totally isolate yourself. Problem is you got to go back out there. So you still should do it. Strongly recommended it. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Even if treatment hasn't worked for you in the past, it's worth trying again. Some people try treatment several times before it works, and many need long-term support to stay drug-free. To prevent relapse, avoid all other mood-altering drugs, including alcohol, and continue to meet with your group or counselor for this support as long as you're going to need it, right? You're going to have to see your doctor or contact some agencies, right? I know like in Ontario you can contact CAMH, right? Access CAMH, and that's 416-535-8501, or Connects Ontario, which is 1-800-531-2600. If you're in the States, you got to get on that internet and look for a program in your neighborhood, but they do have a lot of information and support out there. But the key is, are you going to go for that help? Because you got to start and you got to work on it. And you can't do it all at once. But if there's a harm reduction program where you can function, good for you. Starting and stopping is a part of life. If you start and you stop, start again. Right? So there's a harm reduction program, I think, even in the Greater Toronto area. It's called The Works. 416-932-0520. And even the numbers that I give you, like if you're not even in the country, and you need to contact somebody, call those numbers. I don't care. Ask them, right? Some of them people have people all over the world that are working that can recommend programs that'll work. Do your little bit of work if you have to, right? And if you are supporting someone, good for you. But remember, don't try to do it for them. Make sure that they're working on it. You know what I'm saying? Give them, some guidance and support, but don't try to fix people. Work with people, but don't try to fix them, right? Just make sure you know that we all matter. So this is where I have to say, serious subject, and I want to apologize if I've offended anybody because of maybe some of my humor. That's the last thing I want to do. I do want to take this serious. I want to take a moment to say that my heart goes out to those who are struggling. And if you are doing it, you need to take a look around at your life and see what's going on in your life, because you might think that you have it under control. But somebody who might be younger than you or A partner is watching you destroy yourself, and maybe you haven't destroyed yourself, but someone who's watching you might take up the habit and their life be destroyed. So we got to be accountable and we got to be responsible. And in doing that, I would say I would like you all to take care of yourselves and be like the wise old bird and spread the word. All right? Take care, people.